What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Robert Rule of Two Review here, and today is Microsoft getting shady. So man, I gotta tell you, it's been a really strange week for news. There's been a lot of dramatic and controversial news coming out all across the board for all sorts of companies and all sorts of things. The whole Nintendo rumor with them building a brand new next generation console, and then, they're going to abandon the Wii U, and then their stock prices fell, and, just all sorts of crazy things. And here we are with this newest one, and this centers around Microsoft and the fact that apparently, from purported claims, which actually I had been hearing for around a week or so, I think sometime earlier last week, I might have first, seen or heard this earlier or mid last week, that via Machinima, Microsoft has been paying certain YouTubers and people promoting and advertising, making videos to say and display the Xbox One in a positive light, and in a way that is almost spinning the facts. I think that's how the story was being presented. That it wasn't so much, hey, you're a fan of the Xbox One, why don't you make your video about why you like the Xbox One? I think it's play it in this kind of ambiguous fashion, but make sure you're also promoting it in a positive light, say good things about it, do it in certain ways, and all sorts of stuff. And it's a very interesting topic. I've been weighing the last, especially today when some more news came out about it that I'll touch on in a bit. I've been weighing exactly how big of a deal this is and how detrimental it would be to Microsoft, to the Xbox One, or just to gaming in general. How much I believe it, and just the whole scope of the whole concept and what's going on. So I'm going to get into the details and the nitty gritty here and kind of determine exactly what it is that's going on here. Okay, so let's get down to what details we actually know about this. What seems to have been the case was that the claim here is that Microsoft had reached out to certain Machinima YouTube video creators, made the claim, basically the request that I'm actually just going to go ahead and read to you actually there's a promotion outline that I found, and I'm going to go ahead and read that. It's not very hard to find. You could find it on almost any gaming site. And so I'm going to go ahead and kind of give you an idea of what that is. Basically, the promotion said that for any video, on a Machinima channel that a user had created that shows at least 30 seconds of Xbox One footage within the first 2 minutes, and also has the person playing it make a verbal mention that it's the Xbox One being played, then they will get it's $3. There's a verbiage on YouTube that is used for it, but essentially means if that video contains this, and they also have a request of a very specific tag that needs to be listed in their video, XB1M13, so that basically it could be tracked via Microsoft. So they can see that these Machinima YouTubers are actually doing this, and then they, of course, could follow through with paying them. And of course, so if all these videos on Machinima, contained this exact content in this way, they would be offering $3 for every 1,000 video views, 1,000 clicks on that video. The way monetizing YouTube videos works right now is it's called a CPM, and I believe it's a $1 CP. I'm actually not monetized. It's not really part of my game plan right now, so I can't remember. I was doing research about it a while ago, but it's a much smaller amount than $3. But you make some money for every 1,000 clicks on any video that you create. If you are monetized, I believe it's less than $3. Regardless, it's an amount. What Microsoft was offering was another set amount that they wanted to make, $3 for every 1,000 clicks. A lot of the stuff, Machinima is a huge channel, a huge business. I used to really like the guys, and I still do, but the way the humor of their content has been going the last few years, it's not like it's not still good. It just hasn't been speaking to me in the same way. So they still have done and continue to do great things for the gaming public, the industry, the image. They speak directly to us, the hardcore gamers, and so that's great. So what they do is fine. And apparently, because they are such a huge YouTube video creating content entity, I should say. 1,000 views isn't much. So if you're making $3 for every 1,000 views and you're getting, 30,000 views, that's a lot of money that you're going to be taking home, and that's just for one video, provided you're, now having 30 seconds of Xbox One footage. And you're also mentioning that, by the way, this is the Xbox One version of Call of Duty Ghosts. So I just made a bunch of money. Thanks. That's kind of the way the whole thing is happening right now. So, the good and the bad here, I'm going to preface my whole concept here and say that at the end of the day, there's more details I'll get into. Overall, while this isn't really great news, and I think that it's been handled in a kind of unfortunate way, and it's really shitty for Microsoft, to go through something like this right now. I don't really think that this is the worst thing in the world. I'll let you know that. It's far from great, and it's not like it really should happen. But this isn't a doom spelling kind of scenario. I mean, I think that maybe there's been some misinterpretation and miscommunication about how this stuff happened, what Microsoft was really saying and offering, what Machinima was doing, and how the whole thing played out, and what was actually stated in the stipulations of said contract, the promotion Microsoft offered to Machinima that apparently they took. So what I just mentioned, 30 seconds for Xbox One footage, verbal mention of the Xbox, put this tag in your video, you're going to get $3 for every 1,000 clicks. That, to me, overall, really isn't that big of a deal. Now, there are more details, but that exact concept, were we to begin and end with that one concept, I would have almost no problem with it. It's a simple promotion. That's the kind of things that happens with deodorant and cars, sneakers, sports drinks. I mean, all that kind of stuff. That is the promotion-sponsored kind of American commerce world that we live in, especially with so much digital media that comes at our faces, a million miles a minute all day, every day. So it's kind of really, it was just, their game plan, a semi-clever marketing scheme that was meant to help drive awareness and demand for the Xbox One, especially since, it's done really well overall, but it's started to slow down. So I feel like they're trying to just keep their momentum up. Nothing wrong with that. Microsoft as a company, just like any other company in the world, just like any other video game company, Sony or Nintendo or what have you, they need to make money. Sure, they're providing us great products, but no one should ever be obligated to provide you a great product without also trying to make money, because newsflash, without that money, you're not going to continue to get the great products and content that you want. Seems like an obvious thing, but sometimes people really just need to hear that. So here's where things still get a little more difficult, though. So like I said, that's if the scenario were to begin and end with that statement and that proposal from Microsoft. But apparently the words are that is not quite the case. Apparently some of the other, there's been some informations you can even find. I've got them pulled up in front of me. You can find a picture of the claim, the YouTube proposal, the YouTube promotion that apparently had gone out to Machinima users. And there's also, what was the other thing? That's a tweet. There's a tweet that was released by somebody that also mentions the same thing. The tweet actually reads, I'll just read it to you. The tweet reads, check your emails now, guys, for quote unquote, earn an additional $3 CPM bonus for promoting the Xbox One. It's the easiest, best promo we've ever done, yada, yada. So that apparently happened. And then, of course, the YouTube stipulation page that was sent out to Machinima that there is a copy of. I mean, I guess it looks okay. The campaign will start on January 14th. It will go to February 9th. At the end of the day, this exact page, it would be boring for me to read it to you. So I'm just kind of getting to the nitty gritty. At the end of the day, this exact page, which again, you can find the picture of that tweet, which has since been deleted, by the way, conveniently. They look authentic, but at the same time, they look completely like they could have been fabricated. And that could just be the fear of the fact that we know that stuff is so easy nowadays, especially when you're getting it from the internet on a computer screen. But it's something to be taken into consideration. I mean, I don't really know what's going on here. That's the purpose of me talking about this. But while there certainly could be some validity to this, at the same time, it could also just be like a total fake and somebody's trying to burn Microsoft out. And sadly, we live in a day where we know that could kind of be possible. We couldn't put it by some people. So anyway, again, the other news that apparently existed in the terms and conditions released by Microsoft to Machinima also state this on top of everything else I just read. And this is now quote unquote, anything negative or disparaging about Machinima, Xbox One, or any of its games are not allowed. So basically that's saying, yes, you have to do this. 30 seconds, verbal mention, tag, video, here's your money. However, don't say anything negative or disparaging about Machinima or the Xbox One. So that definitely kind of, thickens the plot, so to speak. That makes everything a little bit different. What's also pointed out that I found is the FTC guidelines mention something very specific about this exact topic, and this makes me kind of wonder what's really going on. They also say, this is the last quote I have, they also say, quote unquote, when there is a connection between the endorser and the seller of the advertised product that might materially affect the weight or credibility of the endorsement, that is also a problem. So because of that is basically saying, if you're having somebody say, my sneakers are the best sneakers, you can't also be saying, you can't tell that person, it's okay to lie. Even if you don't like these sneakers, you need to lie about it. Just say the sneakers are good regardless. That is creating, don't talk about why these sneakers also aren't good, even if they're actually not or what have you. That's kind of just a vague example. Best I could do off the top of my head, sorry. But you probably get the idea. You can't actually ask people to do that if you're trying to do a completely hands-free objective promotion. You want people to do that. And here's the whole stickiness of the scenario. The general concept of saying, please put some of this content in your video and make sure that people know that it is what it is at the end of the day. There is nothing wrong with that. And Microsoft, I feel, has the right to ask that, request that of people and hope that that drives awareness and sales and interest in the Xbox One. I think that's a fine marketing strategy. Going out of their way to specifically request that disparaging marks aren't made about them or the product isn't like the worst thing. Again, that's kind of where I rest in this gray area. Like it's part of it makes sense, but on the other respect, especially when you know that there are actually guidelines that, lay this stuff out, it's not ideal. It's a little bit shifty. And I think that it's kind of unfortunate that they maybe did do this. And that, of course, that it's now gotten out and is kind of hurting their rep. So now Microsoft has also released a few statements regarding the scenario, and I don't want to call it an accusation, but the news itself and what's going on. They ultimately claim, at first they basically claimed that, there's nothing wrong with asking for things of this nature to be kept a secret or having a promotion of this nature. We did nothing wrong. They worded it nicely, don't get me wrong. They weren't so defensive. It was standard. There's nothing wrong with doing the promotion we did. And as far as asking for the secrecy behind it and asking Machinima and no one involved to talk about or make this aware, there's nothing wrong with that either. They basically said, I'm going to find the words that were actually used here. It was interesting. For clarity, confidential relates to the agreements themselves, not the existence of the promotion, which means there's nothing wrong with saying that the promotion exists. They were never saying don't tell people their promotion exists, but they were saying maybe the details within what we're asking of the promotion, that's what is meant to be confidential. That is true. I agree with everything they said there, and I don't think that they did anything wrong. They further went on to say that at the end of the day, they weren't really aware that this was maybe happening if it was. I believe there's investigations going into it. I don't think there's any final information out there as opposed to what has now been proven 100% fact and not fact, made up information. I'm sure we're going to get more of that over the coming days because, again, the first news was several days old that, apparently Microsoft is paying people to lie about the Xbox One and spin it in a positive light and yada, yada. And that was, paying for positive coverage. And that was, that was a little bit controversial and it had some people, worried. And on the internet, everyone's going to lose their mind and gravitate towards that kind of news and drama instantly. But this, however, this specific news is as of today. So it's a little bit more recent. We're going to have to wait and see what's going on. So how I see this is the thing is how do I see this? As I've said a few times already in this video, I don't think that they ultimately did anything too terribly wrong. When you break it down to the bare essentials, all they were doing was taking a very powerful, well-known, and widespread video gaming outlet, and they asked them, please help us promote our system. We're going to make it worth your while. That's how it works. I want you to sell my sports drink, so I'm going to pay you a lot of money to say you like my sports drink. Hello, basketball, football, and every sport in this great nation of America. That stuff is incredibly common. So if Gatorade can pay, LeBron James, millions of dollars to say the Gatorade is awesome, Microsoft should be able to pay Machinima a little bit of money, a decent amount of money to say the Xbox One is awesome, or at least say, this is what you're looking at. It's the Xbox One. Make sure you're aware of it, yada, yada. There's really not that much going on there. The other news about them potentially saying, don't say disparaging remarks. Oh my gosh, excuse me. There is the problem in the sense that, yes, the guidelines lay out that those kind of things shouldn't happen. That is unfortunate for Microsoft. Does it bother me personally? Does it irk my moral center, especially as a gamer, when I hear that? Do I feel uncomfortable or awkward or cheated or lied to about it? Honestly, no, I really don't. I understand that a lot of people may. And this is that kind of gray area specifically where really no one would be wrong. So if you were to tell me that this bothers me, Microsoft fucked up, they're cheating, they're lying, I hate this, yada, yada, maybe you'd be being a little bit aggressive, but at the end of the day, I would say, you know what? You're kind of right. That makes sense. I see where you're coming from, and I will not and cannot tell you that you're wrong. That is a very important distinction, but at the same time, again, for me, do I feel iffy or fishy or awkward about it? I really, really don't. We can't forget that these companies, as I've already said now, they are in business to make money. They have to be able to do it. And promotion and advertising and marketing is a huge, huge part of that, especially in today's digital age for the gaming industry. That's how most gamers, you and I and other gamers, that is how we digest our news and our information and our previews and our desire and want to spend money on the products that interest us. It is through these outlets and this media and the internet and these computer screens and our phones and all this good stuff. So going out of their way to find clever and creative marketing ways, outlets to make this happen, there's nothing really wrong with that. And I don't think that they should have to be, held to a different standard because of that. In the same respect that in my last video, I talked about, one of the few mistakes that Nintendo really did make, following the initial release of the Wii U was poor marketing. And, look at where that got them. That gave them a really shitty first 9 months. It took forever for that system to start to do any kind of turnaround, and it's still playing catch up effectively, even though it still has more units and homes based on the speed, so it's going to be playing catch up soon. And it's because of those mistakes, more than half of which I could almost blame just solely on the marketing. Maybe this is Microsoft. They've always been a marketing powerhouse. They have a lot of money. They can afford this kind of marketing. So they're going to go out of their way. And maybe they even learned from what happened with the Wii U initially that they don't want to let that happen. They came out strong out of the gate. Now things are slowing down. Nothing wrong with trying to, I don't want to say save your product, but keep the momentum up for your product. The Xbox One is, I've said it so many times, it's becoming an increasingly more interesting and desirable system to me personally. I think that it's going to hopefully continue that overall. I am really excited to finally get myself one. I know that there are some issues and I get kind of nervous and maybe I might wait. I don't know. But I'm definitely going to get one soon. I'm really excited for it. And so I don't want to fault Microsoft for trying to do the things that anyone would want to do and say, we just spent millions of dollars on this. This is our baby. We had to create it, develop it, promote it, get people interested in it, get people making games for it, make our own games for it, let you know why you need it, get it in your homes, make this fucking Kinect that no one really wants that costs $100. We had to do that. So now we want it to be successful. We want you to like it. That is their job. And it is our job as gamers to experience it, determine how we feel about it, and like and enjoy and purchase and support the products, games, hardware, and software that interest us. And Microsoft is trying to make that appealing to you and to me and to all of us. Not their fault, not the worst thing in the world. And yeah, I mean, that's really just kind of it. I'm in that gray area where the not saying disparaging remarks certainly was unfortunate. It didn't kill the whole thing at the end of the day. And I'm kind of getting sick of people trying to string Microsoft up. I don't like seeing that with anybody. It's why I did, with my last two videos about Nintendo, my favorite company, it was hard for me to deal with the fact that a lot of gamers can't see why they're great and they do want to string them up, but that happens with everybody. PlayStation 3 had it the first 2 years of its life. Xbox One is now going through it. And, Microsoft may have dug their own hole, especially with the DRM stuff that I was also super unhappy with at the beginning of the year. But fuck it, they reversed it. That's great. They did the things that were necessary to now make it an appealing system to me. And I want them to just get themselves out of this hole so people can just start kind of just not really hating on it. I mean, stop hating it. Stop hating anything. It is so counterproductive to being a gamer and a nerd and a geek, and all these things that make us who we are and so great. I'm getting really philosophical now. I'm going to end this here, but you know what I'm saying. Don't hold us back. Don't hold them back. Just let it be. And Microsoft, stop fucking up. This whole thing probably still could have been avoided at the end of the day. I'm not going to totally let you guys off the hook. My last point is you probably didn't need to do this. So, you got to stop doing this kind of stuff. You are not in the position where you can afford these kind of PR mess ups, especially not much longer. You came out of the gate strong. Do not let go of that. You're really close to putting yourself in danger. And I really do not want to see that because I like you guys. You made me my third favorite hardware manufacturer, and the Xbox One may be my overall third most interesting looking console, but you're still great, and I don't want to see this stuff happen to you. So please stop messing up, make people know why you're awesome, and just make us want the Xbox One in all the right ways. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's it for today. More crazy gaming hardware manufacturer news all around us. It's just such a nuts time of year right now. So, of course, if you like what I'm doing, then do not hesitate to subscribe to the channel Rule of Two Review. It always feels good to know that people like what we're doing, and we're going to keep on doing it. I'm going to have a link to the Facebook page below, so please go ahead and like that as well. You can find us on Twitter at Rule of Two Review. Please share the video, like the video, share your comments and thoughts below. We always love to hear some feedback. And as always, thanks for tuning in, guys. I will catch you next time.